What do you want to tell the world about farming?
I want to tell them that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's one hell of a life.
Yeah.
There is a podcast in Iowa, Farm4Profit was named by they. Faith stirred up a banker near, then quick came an auctioneer. Making profit was their first goal, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. These formats shook us to our core. With Farm4Fun, you will not snore. The banker set all mics to on, and the mullet of podcast was born. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go. Before we knew, conversations grew. Growing corn even said F you. So won't you join Tenor, Dave, Corey, and crew? Please like, share, review. Soon may the farmers come to bring us guests and beer and fun. One day when the recording's done, we'll take our mics and go.
Is that ever going to get old?
I don't think so.
Welcome back to the Farm4Profit podcast. This is Tanner Winterhoff.
And this is David Whitaker.
That was a Busch Light beer. Thank you to Busch Light for being a proud sponsor of the Farm4Profit podcast and Farm4Fun episodes, which is what we're doing today, Dave.
And listeners, remember, we do two different style. We're the Mullet of Agriculture podcast. We got the business up front. That's Farm4Profit. And then we got the party in the back, and that is Farm4Fun. So if you're downloading our podcast, it's all the same. It's Farm4Profit and Farm4Profit LLC at gmail.com. If you have suggestions, make sure to reach out to us. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell us who you want us to interview, and we would love to hear it. We also love reviews. Tanner,
Yes.
Tell me about a review.
Brought to you today by Gearinghoff. They're head of the class no matter the crop. Premium harvesting heads for all your harvesting needs. We've got a text message that came in from 309-256. Just teasing you. We're not giving you the full phone number, so you can't go bombard them, unfortunately. But it was a kind message about our beer mixing. So he said on episode 200, it's called Wash Your Sister Sauce.
Worcestershire sauce.
Wash Your Sister Sauce.
Wash your sister sauce.
You guys are doing a great job. Enjoy listening to you guys every week. So thanks for that message and for clarifying it that it is Wash Your Sister Sauce.
And Tanner, if they want to send a text, they can also do that. Of course, all major platforms, you can leave us a review there too, and then it gets quantified. But if you send us a text, it's 515-207-9640.
Golly, I got to get my phone ready. This is... And not having Corey,
We're missing out.
is really like a bump in the road.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can do this one.
All right.
Get my burps out of the way. Get a song queued up. Ooh, this could be a good one. All right. Brothers from the same mother, traveling across the Midwest just for you on this podcast. Fresh off the Iowa State Fair experience, the drone flying Michigan dairy farming brothers, Ryan and Jordan Siemen. All right.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Welcome. Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yes. All the way from Michigan.
That's
Yeah.
like 12, 15. How many hours is that?
It was about 12.
Jeez.
It's a little bit of a drive from over here.
And you drove a Prius, right?
Pretty close to that.
No, we drove 7.3 F-250.
Oh, my. Classic.
So is diesel cheaper in Iowa?
It is, actually. It is. What is it, Jordan?
Probably about 30 cents cheaper over here. Yeah, it's quite a difference.
No def if you're driving a 7.3.
That's right.
You guys are going to have to get a transport tank to put in the bed of the truck. Take all this cheap fuel back to Michigan.
We might have to buy a tanker or something and haul it over.
Well, they probably sell them down at State Fair. We'll have to go back.
Make the trip worth it. So, yes, thank you for joining us. Of course, we know these introductions never get the intro done the right way. So, Ryan, why don't you start off? Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you guys are from, and what the family farm looks like.
Oh, yeah. So 5 Star Dairy. That's the farm name, and the farm name is not because we're conceited. It's because my parents bought the farm when they already had us 5 boys. So there's 5 of us brothers that work together with our mom and our dad, and a sister-in-law works full-time, and then another sister, and then both of the other sister-in-laws help part-time here and there. But yeah, so we bought our dairy farm in 2004 and started milking right away. And right away, they upped the cattle by quite a bit. And since then, we've just been slowly inclining a little bit here and there. And then, yeah, that's kind of the run through. We all have our different jobs, so that's important to know. We are from the Thumb of Michigan, which is Port Hope, Michigan. So the cool thing about Port Hope is you can watch the sun rise over the lake, and then you can drive 15 minutes away and go to Port Austin and see the sunset over the lake. So we are at the tip of, if you look at Michigan, you got to put your hand out in front of you, and you got to point to your thumb at the tip of it. It looks like a mitten. And so we are right at the tip of the thumb, and that's where we're from.
Wow.
Huh.
Port Hope, Michigan.
Yeah, it's very, very small.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Right at the tip of the thumb. That is, Dave. It's right at the tip of the thumb.
It's the oven mitt, yeah.
Yep.
So you looked right at me because we both had the same question. So you asked the first question.
So you said you added more cows. How many cows do you have?
You're a funny guy. That's disclosed information. I'll give you a hint. Farms range anywhere from pretty standardly 80 cows to 6,000 cow dairies we have around us, and we are somewhere in between 3,500 and 100, and that's the best I can give you.
So it's like when we talked with Ellie Mae, the singer, and her family's got a dairy in Idaho. Mm-hmm. We looked that baby up on a website and went, holy smokes. Because I'm pretty sure that's at the top end of that number range that you just gave.
Yeah, so farms used to be small around us. 1,000 cow dairies were very big back even 15 years ago, and then what happened was foreigners started coming across, and they brought a bunch of money because they were able to sell their land and their cows for very expensive in Ireland and other places and the Netherlands. So they come over, they buy dairies, and they are just hit with more money, and they just keep expanding and expanding. And so that basically makes it so that your little dairies struggle a lot. And there's two ways to fight it. Either you can adapt and you can grow, or you can get out. So you don't have to grow to the extent they do. There's other ways to grow than just growing cows, right? So possibly making money off of YouTube someday, or doing things like you see a lot more farms turning to creameries, right? Mm-hmm.
So we even had some that they give tours, and they were doing agritourism. And
I'm sitting here reflecting on all the dairy guests that we've had. I would say by industry, you guys are very well spoken. There's a lot of advocates coming out of the dairy, because we've had Iowa dairy farmer Dan. Mm-hmm. We've had the Richmond dairy out of Virginia. Richland dairy.
Out west to Ellie Mae.
Yep, Ellie Mae. We've got you guys. We know we got a couple more coming down the pipeline.
So we got...
But there's a few key words here, Dave, that I don't know if you picked up on, but I picked up on is... Oh, Huey Be Cool.
I was going to ask if you guys had him. I was pretty sure you guys had him.
Yeah. And that was another purchase. That was coming over from the Netherlands for a purchase.
Yep.
So you guys said you bought your farm in 2004.
Yep.
So is this technically a first-generation dairy farm?
Technically. If you want me to tell the truth, my parents started our farm with maxed-out credit cards and a bank loan. They worked for my grandparents, and my grandparents' farm at the time was not making much money, so they weren't able to pay my parents like they were probably supposed to, most definitely supposed to. And so Dad said, I got to go out and get another job. I got kids coming. So Dad left the farm. He worked for a farm for 4.5 years, and then he worked for another farm for 6 months, and then the dairy came up for sale, and Mom and Dad were like, well, we don't, my mom was raising calves at the time for a 2,500 cow dairy, and that was 3 hours away. So she was already raising the calves, and Dad was managing herds at these other farms. And they said, "Why don't we just buy our own? We're already making all these guys the money. Why don't we just buy our own?" And at first, it was great. They were making decent money. Everything was good. Dad's 5-year business plan was going into effect every year that he wanted it to. And then 2009 hit. Mm-hmm. And that was nearly the death of our farm. And they just kept pushing. Mom and Dad pushed and pushed, and they just kept pushing. And we weren't, we were young yet, 2009. So we still had a lot of hired help doing our outside work. We were hiring our crops raised. We were hiring manure tanking done and stuff like that. And so there was a lot of money going out, not much coming in because milk price hit $8. Break even is for pretty averagely $13 to $16 at least. Some people say 13. I'd like to see their numbers, how they come up with that. It's more like 15 or 16 you need to make to, break that point. And so when you're making half as much as you're supposed to be pushing forward, you accumulate a lot of things that shouldn't have been there, right? So it takes a long time to pay that back down. And
right.
Takes a whole lot to pay for 5 kids, too.
Yes,
so they were
exactly.
accumulating kids that were future help in the...
all boys, right?
Yeah.
All boys. Yeah.
All boys. So is there one that, mom and dad, maybe a favorite?
No, mom and dad are actually super good parents, and they're super, super good people. Very, very disciplined people, and they raised us well. And there was no favoritism.
Now, Jordan, do you agree with that?
I agree with it. I don't know if the brothers always do. They always say the baby's favorite a little bit.
He is a little bit.
So I do have to agree with that a little bit, but not to a great extent to where it causes problems within the family.
No.
Yeah, it's okay to be the favorite.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Right?
what I know, and I need to get that point across to them too.
It's just okay. Just because it isn't you doesn't mean you can't be mad at me.
No, but
Jordan is the favorite.
Yeah, but not really. I mean, it's all pretty even. Mom and Dad do a great job of keeping everything even, as far as everything. So
they still working, or do you guys do all the work for them now?
no, they're still working. Mom's kind of transitioning more into. She's got 1 grandkid already, so she takes a day off a week to watch her now. So Mom still does. She's Wonder Woman. I tell you, she feeds calves. She does colostrum at the dairy, which is, the cow's first milking. Mm-hmm. So we put all that into a freezer, and then so we keep all the good stuff and stuff like that. And then so we've got to manage that. So she does that. She vaccinates cows, and she cooks and cleans. She is Wonder Woman.
Wow.
And
Sounds like it.
So now Nicole is my sister-in-law of my oldest brother, Brad. And she is starting to kind of not take over, but she works a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
So
transition,
a
little bit.
Starting to a little bit, not yet. Mom's not ready to be done yet. Dad always says he's going to work till he dies. So
yeah. So have you guys always lived in Michigan?
we have, yes.
So this wasn't like you moved into Michigan because of the dairy.
Nope.
This was a local opportunity.
This was a local opportunity, only about 20 minutes from where Mom and Dad used to live. So not far.
And do you plan to ever leave Michigan?
No.
Jordan's shaking his head no too.
No, that is not the intentions. I mean, we are all very happy where we're at. We love what we're doing. The most we would do is try to expand our business we got 6 families that need to live off of this business, but we would never move elsewhere to fulfill that opportunity.
Right. So you said each kid's got a job.
Yep.
So Jordan, what's your role in the dairy?
The main role, so we actually have 2 mixers that feed at our main farm. We also have a heifer facility that there's an iron mixer there. My brother Cody, who is the middle child, and myself are the head of the feeding operation.
Okay.
We all know how to feed. We all know how to do every job, but each person has to have their own individual job just to make it the most efficient that it can be.
Yep.
So I do a lot of the feeding, as well as I'm the only person that cuts hay on a regular basis. Like I said, other people know how to do it, but those are my 2 main jobs around the farm.
Yeah. Ryan?
And I am I'll probably be the one to take over Dad's spot of being cow manager. So I breed cows. I treat cows, which we don't do very often. We're very lucky. We're with Tom Vanderwall. He's a nutritionist, and he does a great job at keeping cows healthy. So we actually don't have hardly any health problems. Not saying that other farms do, but we have very, very minimal problems with our cows. So that's really nice. So I do treat cows if they need it, but that's pretty rare. I mostly breed cows, and then I merge hay. Those are my 2 main jobs. But other than that, I used to, before the spring hit, I trained a guy at the heifer facility. I used to do all the feeding there and the managing there. And then as this year kind of progressed, it's kind of turned into more of the hired hand doing it. So that way I could be in a tractor, moving equipment around, stuff like that. He does a really nice job. So that's kind of been a transition for me, which is a little weird, but
Right.
I like it.
So how old are you guys?
I am 23,
And I am 21.
but you're, what, a week away?
Yeah, about a week away from being 22. So
Yeah.
Got it. So you can drink beer.
I can, yeah.
No, I was curious just based on age demographic for the farm.
Yep.
But it is nice to know here on Farm for Fun
Yeah.
as we slide stuff across
He
the table.
don't drink much, so if you get him to, I'd be pretty surprised.
Well, we'll see if he wants me to make a fourth one of the sample or not. I'll let him tell me when we get to that. But that's kind of a unique factor to see the whole family, because the whole family's involved, right? There's not a brother
that's correct. No, yeah,
there's not a brother that's off doing something cool like banking.
No, that's funny.
See, and I know a family that has 5 brothers, and all 5 brothers have a J first name, and all 5 brothers are auctioneers.
Look at that.
No kidding.
That's insane. That's cool.
Yep, their dad was, and they all went into it as well.
That's cool. I think a big part of that is keeping your family around as your parents. So our parents, like I said, have always kept everything equal. And so that's always, and they have never forced us back. Never once have the way Dad put it growing up, when someone asked him was, I would not be mad. I would be disappointed that they left, but I wouldn't be mad. And I would be happy if they stayed. And that's always wrong with me. He probably said that 10 years ago, 15 years ago. So that's always kind of stayed with me. And yeah, it's.
Well, we're going to get into how you are branching out and doing something on your own that is still a part of the farm, which is how we discovered you, and the reason behind probably one of the fastest growing ag TikTok accounts out there. So we'll get into that, but we're going to do our first sample. Do you want a sample, Jordan, or?
I'm probably going to have to pass on this one,
All right.
but thank you.
So
Thank you.
this was sent to us by a listener.
What are we drinking here?
This is Busch Light again. Busch Light, official beer of the Farm for Fun episode of the Farm for Profit podcast. This is supposed to taste like chocolate. This is Captain Morgan spiced rum
A little bit.
with Busch Light.
A little bit, but
It's a reach.
it's got the bitter taste like that.
It's got the bitter taste.
Oh, I get it. I'm getting it. I mean, I did this half and half.
Yeah.
So it's a little thimble here, a thimble of half beer, half Captain Morgan. I wonder if you had more beer, if it would carry through the chocolate flavors a little bit more.
That's something you're gonna have to try.
I'll try it, listeners.
I might have to finish throwing this shooter into a beer. But yes, Captain Morgan, Busch Light, being chased by Monster across the table.
Yes.
It is not as good as beer and chocolate milk.
No, that was better, and I can't believe it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that was another dairy guest, was Faber.
Yep.
Faber. Oh, who's Faber?
Dwayne.
Is he a TikTok or
He's a
on
Twitter
Twitter?
guy.
Twitter.
Yes.
When I used to have Twitter, I used to have him on there.
Yes.
Which guy is the one with the jerseys?
It wasn't
You guys
him.
know him?
I don't know.
I remember when I used to have Twitter when I was in high school, back before I made any social media. You know, when I was in high school, I never even dreamed that I would be something like this.
Sure.
So.
Let's get into it.
Yeah, we're talking
What
social
is
media.
something
So
like
when you
this?
had Twitter, like you're so old. So back in the day, like 5 years ago, maybe or
Right.
2 years
Yep.
ago, I used to have Twitter. But
Okay.
so you don't have Twitter now.
No, I deleted it. Well, in high school, we mature after high school.
Yeah.
So I had some funny posts that I still would look back and say, wow, that's funny. And now looking back and seeing that I have a TikTok and stuff, it's like, okay, what is my goal here with my TikTok? My TikTok is to, I teach people, probably 1 out of 10 videos are informative on my TikTok. I like to keep all sorts of people interested in my account, not just old people. I like
Okay.
to keep kids interested too, right? So I can't be having anything on there that's not okay for kids to see. I try not to swear on my TikTok. I never swear on my YouTube. If you see me out in public and you're one of my friends, I have more of a potty mouth than I do on TikTok and stuff. But I mean, that's just part of the thing that we're doing here is trying to teach people how to be. And I'm told probably 5 times a day that I'm a role model to someone. So we don't want to be teaching these people that.
Is that a weird feeling? to be called a role model?
Oh my gosh. Well, yes and no. I was good at sports in high school, so younger kids always kind of looked up to me, but not to the extent of what it is now. It's different. Like today, I was recognized at the Iowa State Fair. We were walking by this JCB fast track, and I told Jordan, I said, Jordan, these would be awesome to have on tanks. People run them by us. This one crew has 30 of them. This one dairy farm has 30 of these fast tracks, and I'm like, that'd be so nice to have a tank in it. And as we're walking away, Jordan's like, hey, those kids recognize you. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, one of them just said, hey, that's Ryan Siemen. So I turned around, and he says, hey, I follow you on TikTok. And I said, no way. So I went up, I shook his hand. His name was Carson. And I just thought that was, that's pretty cool. So
That's a small world. Carson King is somebody who wishes he didn't have Twitter anymore either.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Is that why you got rid of it?
But anyway, your good question on where you're headed with yours.
Well, I was just going to say you guys have 50.2 thousand followers.
That's what I made the outline. It's got to be higher
It
now.
might be higher than that.
52.2 now. Yeah.
There you go.
See, fastest growing.
So you've been growing, and then you guys have YouTube too. Are those your two main social media profiles?
They are. I do Facebook and Instagram. Facebook's more of for my family that doesn't do TikTok. I want them to see. I got neighbors that really like watching my videos, but they refuse to download TikTok. So I'll throw, a couple of videos on Facebook here and there. I accept pretty much everyone's friend requests on Facebook, but I only follow like 410 people on TikTok. That's just the way I do it. Right or wrong, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Judge me, I don't care. But Instagram then, I have just about 2,000 followers on Instagram. I'll throw a video on Instagram here or there because all three have different audiences. Mm-hmm. But my Instagram it's 100 likes on a video. It's nothing special, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's a lot of listeners here that would kill for 100 likes.
Yeah, that's true.
Including this podcast.
And you're right. And sometimes I do get ahead of myself and I say, man, this edit took me 2 hours to make and I only got 2,000 likes on it.
You got 2 hours editing something?
Oh my gosh. That's normal. Like people don't realize the amount of time these edits take. Like they really don't. And I try to stress that to people. At one point I had people taking my videos, when you get to be certain good at making videos, people want to take them and post them to their own accounts and use them for likes. And that frustrates the heck out of me because I've spent money. I've gotten sponsorships to buy things, to buy cameras and drones to make these videos. I've put in the time. I pay for my editing software. And to have someone steal it is just ridiculous. But yes, back to your 2 hours of editing time. It's not uncommon for me to spend an hour and a half to 2 hours.
This must be my problem, Tanner. I'm like 5 minutes, like post it, not even like post it, just raw record it. I don't even add music or anything.
I got posts like that too, and I see what you're saying, and that's what a lot of people tell me. How do you even have that time? Well, I don't have a girlfriend. So
no
girlfriend.
So I'm looking at your TikTok right now, and you have lots of aerial footage. So
Yep.
you must be a drone guy.
I'm a drone guy.
So are you a Part 107 pilot, or are you just like a freelance pilot?
I'm a freelance pilot.
All right, fair enough. And what kind of drone you use?
I use a DJI Air 2S.
Air 2S, is that Zoom?
Yeah, it does. It
was gonna say-
zooms 4x, so I can put my drone up and I can see my town that's 8 miles away. And
wow,
that is an eerie feeling.
So
because I only spent $1,300 on that drone. I always say, can you imagine what the government's doing with their billions of dollars?
So Corey took me out the other day, and we used my drone because I'm a Mavic 2, and he got the Mavic 3 Pro, and I'm like, it's not that much better. And then he puts it up in the air, and we're like, 3 miles from where it is. It's got 28x zoom. And that thing just went, I was like, holy smokes, you can see what's on the front door. And he could. So now I'm like jealous and I want a whole new drone.
Well, I've just got the Mavic Mini.
Yeah.
If you guys are going to buy a new drone, you got to go through Maverick Drone Systems. So I got hooked in with this guy.
No free ads.
No free ads. Yeah, no.
It's not a free ad. Basically, it's not really even an ad. So basically, I only take sponsorships from people that I truly think are good to work with. I'm offered more sponsorships than what I have, and I don't accept them all because I just don't think that I want people to say, oh, you're a sellout. No, I'll sell out to the right person, right? So this guy, when I called him, he didn't know me. He didn't know me from anywhere. He had no idea who I was. I called him. He was one of the nicest, most informative guys that I have ever talked to. His name is Adam. And like I always tell people, they always ask me, what kind of drone you have? I say, don't worry about what kind of drone I have. Call that guy, tell him what your price range is, and he will get you the best quality drone that you can possibly get. So that's what I always tell people. Like, yeah, I might have a DJI Air 2S, and it works for me. But that doesn't mean it's going to work for you, because I know how long it took me to say to myself, okay, I can truly afford this drone. So actually, I just had a TikTok creator that's bigger than me. He just messaged me on Instagram this morning, and he said, hey, what kind of drone do you have? I'm looking in to get another one. I said, well, here's this one, and here's the price. And he said, oh, that's too much. And I said, I completely understand. I said, give this guy Adam a call and see if he's got anything better, more in your price range. And no, it might not be the quality that I have, but you might be able to run with it.
So while Ryan's out making videos, are you, Jordan, are you running the drone? Are you a drone pilot? Are you doing it for him? Or are you any background, like movie setup, like getting ready to go?
He's the one that brings him a bottle of water.
Yeah, that's
Is that where you were going?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Pretty much
Are you the water boy?
of what I do for him. He really handles everything himself. He does need some help here and there, but nothing to an extent to where somebody else couldn't do it. And we are very close, so anytime he does need help, he is usually the one to ask me to do it.
Gotcha.
And
Somebody's actually got to do the work on the dairy.
I know. Somebody's got to drive the tractor while he's...
I get that one a lot.
So, like Ryan has said before Ryan started posting, we were the dairy that, people really didn't talk to, because we do work more hours than what other people would even expect we would. So we don't get time to get out there and talk to people. So when Ryan first started this, it was always just, you go to work every day and you work all day long until, it's time to go home.
Yeah, cows need milked every day.
That's right.
They need fed every day.
We actually don't do the milking. We hire that done. There's 3 things that we hire done on our farm: the milking, the scraping of the alleys, and the spraying. Everything else we do. We're fixing equipment. My brothers have torn tractors apart, but we don't do those 3 things. There's no way that a dairy our size, we milk 24/7, so we have 3 hours of shutdown.
Oh, I thought he was almost going to give us a number of cows.
Nope.
Almost. We milk 24/7,
Nope.
365.
Yep, that's right. So for us to be able to get all of our other work done, and what people don't realize is cows have 24 hours a day to break things and mess things up, and we have however many hours a day we work to fix them. So
when's the last time you had a day off, Jordan?
Well, we actually take a family vacation every year whenever it lines up. And so we took our family vacation. All the sister-in-laws, everyone, we all just get together.
How many sister-in-laws?
3.
Okay, so you are the only 2 that aren't married.
that's right.
correct.
When we don't have girlfriends.
So see, that's why when you talked about, Ryan asking me or to help or anything, he always comes to me because I'm the least busy.
Yes. But anyway, sorry, I interrupted you. You take a vacation with the family.
Yeah, so we take 5 full days off, and then we work Saturday to Saturday. That's when we take off, but Saturday when we leave, we work a little bit. Nothing substantial or anything like that, and then the Saturday we come back. But so that was our last major days off. We do like to take Sundays a little easier just because it is Sunday, but you always have the necessities that need to be done.
Absolutely. So this trip to Iowa, because folks, if you don't remember, they are sitting here in studio, drove from the thumb of Michigan to the Huxley, Iowa studio. This is a big deal for you guys.
This is a big deal.
This is a very big deal.
It was a very awesome. When I saw that you guys, you and Corey both followed me, and I looked and I'm like, oh, hey, I knew who you guys were, but I'm like, there's no reason to follow them. They'll never follow back. It is what it is. Just me being my humble self, thinking I'm, not big enough for that. And
what happened as soon as you followed me back?
You messaged me
right away. I did.
Right away. It was
because you can't message somebody until they follow you
messaging
back.
me all the time.
I tried sending
he's just trying to keep the girls away. He's got a business to run. He's trying to keep the girls away.
It's like 45 messages of me trying to send. Oh, you can't send it because they don't follow you back.
Yeah, and that's a shame that TikTok changed that, because before you could go in and you could say, okay, this guy doesn't follow me, but I can still read his message, right?
Right.
But they changed that.
And you could send 3. I thought that was acceptable.
Yes.
How creepy can you get in 3 messages?
Well, I was going to say, you're clearly not a young creator, because there are some weird old men out there. I will say that. There are some dang weird. Like, I mean, I'm talking to me. I'm like, I'm a
Tanner
guy.
is a
leave me.
weird old man.
Yes, I'm the guy that's asking for feet pictures. Hey, after you get done doing chores, why don't you just pop those boots off?
Yeah, that's messed up.
Is it not? Jiminy Christmas. I've always thought it'd be a great idea to do a podcast that is something like the Scum of Ag, or my DMs, or whatever the tale is. You just bring people on to talk about the weird crap.
Lacey Fields, you guys, Blake's ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah. I pretty much ever since I was a small
Minnesota
creator.
farmer's daughter.
Yep. When I first started my TikTok, we followed each other pretty much right away. We liked each other's content, stuff like that. I was always very, very respectful. I don't talk to her other than I ask her a couple questions here or there. She asks me a couple questions. And one thing I asked her, I said, how weird are guys to you? I said, like, she's attractive and she's very popular. I said, you have to get some weirdos. She said, Ryan, you would not believe the things that people say to me. And I'm like, actually, I would, because I've experienced some of them, and it's really weird. But it's just like the quickest block you can ever find. It's like, I get it, and I'm like, nope.
Which is funny, but we've had a lot of guests on this podcast that are attractive in both sexes, and it happens to everybody. Now, I do feel bad because I think it happens more
to the girls.
young females,
and that's one thing about Andrea. That, I feel bad for her because she's got fit right in her name, so therefore she gets some just absolute weirdos on there.
Absolutely. And the tricky part, like when we asked her during her interview, is if her husband was funny and if her husband's in the TikToks, when they aren't shown, that's not a deterrent either, because you appear single.
Right.
You're the only
I 100% agree. I mean, I'm a single guy, right? I'm going to try and talk to girls. Sometimes you try and talk to girls and they're like, oh, I have a boyfriend. And it's like, okay. Like, I checked out your Instagram. There was nothing of him on there. There was nothing on TikTok. And I know that doesn't mean that, they're not a good couple or anything. It's just, it's hard for me to tell, right?
Right.
So,
right. And I've even had conversations with middle-aged men that I give them crap because their profile starts off with taken. Like, is it really that important? I mean,
It is.
It is.
It is.
People get weird messages all the time. But I want to talk weird because when these guys showed up, they told me they were coming a day early. And I'm like, well, what the hell are they going to do in central Iowa coming a day early? And it dawned on me that this is Iowa State Fair time. So listeners, we are ahead of schedule. This is recorded during the Iowa State Fair. I want to know what your experience was and what weird you saw at the Iowa State Fair.
Weird Iowa State bingo. Like, did I see the person without a shirt? Did I see the person without,
the gal that I can see her underwear. The gal that's not wearing any underwear.
Honestly, it wasn't that bad.
Compared to the Michigan State Fair?
I've actually never been, so I guess I wouldn't know.
Where's that even at? Where's Michigan State Fair?
It's in Imlay City.
Sounds really big too.
Imlay City is a decent sized town.
Is it really?
It's not nearly as big as Des Moines. Not nearly as big.
But anyway, sorry. What did you think of the Iowa State Fair?
I was honestly pretty impressed. It's nice. I could not believe how big it was. We walked in. We probably, what did we spend there? Like 2 hours, and I don't even think we saw everything.
Oh my goodness! Not in 2 hours. You didn't. No.
Imlay City is spelled IMLAY.
Yes.
That's not how you spell Emily.
Hey,
sorry to interrupt that.
Imlay. Yeah.
2 hours. So what did you do while you were
guys
there?
on the south end of the fair? Did you go up to the north end of the fair?
We walked in right by the tractor pulling.
Oh, okay.
North end.
And then we went pretty much straight through the midway. We went pretty much straight down the food, like that road there.
Yeah.
And then we went back to the barns.
With all the food, like you said. You saw the food.
Yeah.
We saw the food. And then we went back to the barns, and we're like, okay, there's this barn there for learning about animals. Because we were trying to find the animals. And then all of a sudden, we're like, okay, this is not the place. Like,
Did you go to the Avenue of the Breeds?
No, they got rid of that.
Oh, they did?
Yeah. So where he's at learning about animals, he went north off the midway. But now you probably ended up heading the opposite direction.
So we ended up
south.
going to where they keep the steers and everything inside the barn, and then we walked through the sheep because the pigs left yesterday, I was told, and they brought the sheep in. Yeah. So then we walked through the sheep. And
so your first stop was the birthing barn. That was with the farrowing crates and the...
Yes.
Yes.
Yep. You're right. which those lines were big for the
Yeah.
To
All the
see
kids.
pigs.
A lot of people wanted to see them. So, yep.
Okay, so you got to see where the steers are kept.
And then we basically, we were on our way out, and we were walking by the JCB Fast Track, and I said to Jordan, I think I already told this on air, so
Yeah,
I
so-
just won't say it again. But
So what'd you eat?
we didn't eat anything, actually.
Oh, my goodness.
No, we ate
Deep fried Oreos? Nothing?
We ate before we went. Honestly, guys, this is going to sound kind of nerdy, but I was pretty nervous to come onto this. So I was like, I'm not going to
that's
eat.
fine. I
So-
get it. Well, now you got to stay an extra day, and you got to go back. You got to get the pork chop on a stick. You
chop
got to
on
get
a
the deep fat
corn
fried
dog,
Oreos. You got to get the monkey tail, which is a chocolate dip banana.
Yeah.
Get her.
Did you see the butter cow?
Get a euro.
No.
There's a
We saw the sand castle. That was it.
Yeah, there's a building there with just a big, world famous butter cow that they sculpt, actually a dairy cow.
Yeah, out of butter.
Out of butter.
Yeah,
don't
and
know
then
if
they
it's-
always do something else, like an Elvis sculpture or a barn scene or whatever it is. It's quite a big ordeal. Like I told them in the text message was, we're pretty proud of our state fair.
Yeah.
And then, like I told Tanner, it's important to be proud of things. It definitely is,
So did you guys get to see the dairy cattle in Iowa? I think I was there yesterday, and they had some brown Swiss. They had some jerseys, all the kids in white pants that show them, and yeah.
we didn't see the cows, but we did see the steers.
I gotcha.
So
Nice. So I can't get over the fact that you guys said that the three things you hire done is the milking of the cows and the alley scraping.
Yep.
Well, I'm sitting there going, how do you get somebody to scrape alleys when people are arguing about they can't even get someone to go serve a burger at Wendy's?
So we have a mix of Hispanics and Americans. So without our Hispanics, it'd be pretty hard to find people.
Yeah.
The one downside of hiring Hispanics is that they don't tell you they're leaving. They just leave, just like that.
Oh.
So that's the one big downside with them. So we actually had 6 leave at once 2 years ago. And
That's
was
probably
like,
tough. They all leave together.
What did we end up working? Like 36 hours straight?
Yeah, so we would actually take turns working our 30 hours because we couldn't find any help in the meantime. Everybody knows how hard it is to find help. So, yeah, we just took our turns working our long shifts, and every day, like 2 or 3 people would go home to sleep, and that was it.
Yeah, so
The
that
rest
was,
of them would just
that
stay
was for
working.
probably like 4 or 5 days. And then after that, we were lucky enough to hire more people. But so it's not all sunshine and rainbows having Hispanics help, but they do. You will not find a better worker than a Hispanic. So so in that meantime, though, we tried hiring Americans, and we're like, okay, well maybe this is God's sign to tell us that we need to start local help again. Which, if you guys saw from the picture. Well, what's to the every direction of us?
Oh, yeah, you're surrounded by water.
Water, right? So we don't have that many people as is. So
Yeah, talk about neighbors.
yeah, so to find help is really, really hard. And we tried Americans, and guys were saying, "Oh yeah, I can't show up today. I can't show up today. The cow's got to be milked. So either you're there or you're not." So after about maybe a month, we finally decided, okay, it's just time. It's just time to go back to the Hispanics and just deal with it. So when that group came back, then we changed our management ways with them, kind of, and basically we told them if they want to drink or anything, just don't even come. We don't want anybody on the job. They get 1 day off a week, and every single week, 2 of the guys don't like to take that day off every week. They like to take it every other day or every other week. That's fine with us. We don't let it go any farther than that because guys get disgruntled when they don't get days off.
Sure.
But we allow everyone to take a day off a week if they'd like. They work 12-hour shifts, and that's how we do that. We used to work them 8-hour shifts, and then, actually when we made that switch, they said, okay, we're only coming if we're only going to help you guys if you guys do 12-hour shifts. And we're like, hey, we'll do 12-hour shifts. That works better for us anyway.
They make good money, I assume.
Yeah.
Paid well. Yeah.
Yep, paid well.
If I could work 3 12s a week at the bank, I'd be happier.
Right. Yep. So, like you said, finding help is not easy. And so especially doing that work, but they are very proud of what they do. So that's nice. We encourage them. We found more that if you focus less on telling them what they did wrong and focus more on telling them what they did right, it works better. Right. A big thing with us is you walk up to someone, you smile, you say, hey, good job. And you give them knuckles. That's their like big that's their heartfelt, okay, I'm doing a good job. This is where I need to be.
Then you can tell them what they did really crappy.
That's right, eventually, but you don't want to do that all the time. You want them to feel like they're doing a good job, and right now we're very blessed with the crew we have, and they're doing a nice job.
Nice.
And
Shout out.
And
see if they listen.
right now, we are actually fortunate enough. We had a guy from our area. He's worked for us before, American, and he works directly with us, myself and all my brothers, and my father as well, because our mother is mainly at our calving facility, but she also comes and does colostrum, like Ryan has stated, and he works directly with us. We are very fortunate to have him because any decisions that need to be made, I mean, he's part of that because he's truly involved in the business.
Yep.
He's not just okay, I'm gonna come in, put in my time, and that's it. When I leave, I'm done. He thinks about stuff when he goes home.
Yep.
So we're very fortunate to have people like that working with us.
Someone who's invested.
Yep, and I'll tell you something about that. The one night he was supposed to check the oil on the skid steer to make sure it didn't run out, and he said he got home, and about 2 hours after being home, he's like, I never went and checked that. He's like, well, I don't want a blown engine. So he actually, he only lives about 5 miles from the farm, but he drove back to work off of company time. He checked the oil. So he didn't ask us to do it. I thought that's pretty good to have a guy like that. So we try to treat him well. He gets pretty much every weekend off, and we try to keep him happy that way.
So you guys being young, I don't know the age demographic of your help, but do they ever get disgruntled, you think, because the young family members are telling them what to do? Or
They used to when we were younger. We actually tried not to tell them what to do too much. So pretty much the way that our management system work is, our oldest brother, Brad, is the overall manager.
He is, okay.
Yeah, so we if you want to know what's going to go on that day, we all sit down and have a meeting in the morning, and we talk about, hey, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And Brad knows everything. He calls the people to talk to. He knows what's going on in the day. So that's really nice to have Brad there doing that. He's a true manager at heart. I mean, that guy can think of 10 steps ahead of why we're going to do it this way because it's going to help us 10 steps ahead. So that's really nice to have. We're all super invested in the farm, financially and emotionally and physically. So we all put forth our thoughts and everything. And the really nice thing is, even with our hired guy Philip, when we do things, it's not to get out of work. It's to better our business. So every decision we make is trying to make our farm better, trying to make us more efficient. That's a really cool thing.
So what they think about your decision to become TikTok famous and maybe change careers into being a social influencer?
Well, Jordan started answering that earlier, that there's no days off. You guys work a lot. So when he started doing that, it was a little bit taboo, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of like
there was a line, and
I crossed it once or twice.
right, and how are you supposed to establish the line? You have to cross it to come back, find out where that line is, and then you always have to make sure, okay, maybe that is the line. Right. So like Ryan said, yeah, he crossed it only because he does a very good job with it. But you have to remember, we were that family that you go to work and you work. You don't pull out your phone. You don't do any of that. You work, and when you go home for the night, that is your time to do you. So when Ryan started this, it was a
learning curve.
Yeah, it was hard. I'm not gonna lie, and I wasn't even in Ryan's shoes, and I could see how hard it was. There was
not only just learning curve of the technical,
right? It was the family
managing the relationships.
Yeah, the relationships was a big thing. My oldest brother Brad is the least likely one to say I should be doing it. He manages everything. He's a very hard worker. All my brothers are very hard workers, and but it was just kind of difficult for him to see that, hey, this might benefit us someday. It's already starting to hit more ways than what we can think of. Like people are sending me stuff to try for a video and things like that.
Sure.
And like this drone guy, he was saying stuff like that. But it was definitely a learning curve, and I definitely crossed it a couple times. And basically anymore, everything that I do, if my camera's with me, I'm not standing there taking video. It's hanging on the window in my tractor, or it's on my head, or it's in my hand while I'm still doing something. When I first started, YouTube and TikTok are both a lot about camera angles, right? Well, to get them camera angles, sometimes it's a lot of work. you gotta make things together and stuff like that. So that was a big learning curve, was taking the time to learn how to do that and to do it efficiently and fast enough to make sure my brothers weren't getting upset with me that I was taking too long.
Yeah, the merger can't stop for too long.
Yeah, that's
because
right.
the chopper needs it to keep
That's
moving.
right.
Yes, that's right.
And one thing with the line, and the only brother that we haven't talked about yet is Andrew. He's the second oldest.
Not important.
He is.
Oh, that's not where you were going.
He's very opinionated and has a very strong voice, and he's helped Ryan out a lot finding that line. And without Andrew, I don't know if we would be sitting here right now. Ryan and Andrew discuss where that line was,
Yep.
and if that line ever gets crossed, Andrew is usually the one to help Ryan out, find where that line is again, and
Helping out, air quotes, is not always a nice way either. So sometimes it's, hey, you jackwagon, get back to work.
Yeah.
That's what I call Dave all the time, is the jackwagon, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, we got another beer in front of you guys. It's probably getting warm now.
Okay.
So I was told on the way here that Jordan's drink of choice is iced tea. So this is not a listener suggestion. This is my own creativity, which is super creative. Mm-hmm. Is to put iced tea with a Busch Light. And the faces you both are giving me is this was a really bad idea.
It was a really bad idea.
I'm not an iced tea drinker, and I actually think it made iced tea taste better. So a little Busch Light with iced tea, I didn't think it was so bad.
I don't dislike this. This is really good.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan's not on the same page.
I'm not. It's okay, though.
Oh, you might have to let Jordan try this one.
Go ahead. Just have a sip.
It made iced tea taste better.
Just have a sip.
It's not like adding a lemon to an iced tea.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Right.
Okay, but you got to remember, this is unsweetened iced tea.
This is unsweetened.
Yeah, so you gotta put that into factor, because the sweetened iced tea a lot of people would prefer over the unsweetened.
Yeah?
So that would definitely take a factor with the Busch.
Oh, I didn't think about that. We got another one to do another show, is to throw some sweet tea in.
There you go. Sweet tea.
I'm going to finish this whole thing. I mean, the pineapple one was a little strong on Andrea's show. We did margarita mix on Andrea's show. The Captain, I don't get the chocolate like people are telling us. But thanks again to Busch Light for being a proud sponsor of the Farm for Profit podcast. Quick question, and then I want to play that game that we've been playing the last couple of weeks here.
Right.
You mentioned that Jacob, was that the hired hand?
Philip.
Yeah, Jacob Phillip, same guy, right? Drove home. Are you guys living on the farm, or do you guys have a place off the farm?
We live at the calving barns there.
Okay.
So the way it works is we have 3 different farms. We have a heifer farm, and then we have the place where we house the calves and some weaned heifers and stuff like that. And then we have the dairy farm. So the dairy farm calves all the animals, and none of us live there. So the dairy farm has the calving and everything like that. So once the calf is born, then within a day or two, it goes to my house. And then that's where Jordan and I live still, is with mom and dad. So then the calves go there, and then the calves go to the heifer facility to get bred and stuff like that. So once they're pregnant, they come back to the dairy, and then the cycle just keeps going. But as far as the living, 3 of my brothers live off the farm. 2 of them are within a mile and a half of the dairy, and then the third one is probably the same distance from our house to the dairy, which is about 6 miles.
So now, what if you get married and you find?
I was just going to say, the living at home
girl.
thing makes it difficult to get the girlfriend.
It does.
It does.
You can't say, "Hey, why don't you come over?"
I cut you off again. I've been doing that this whole
That's
show.
all right. So if you guys get married, both of you said no, we're not leaving the farm. What if the perfect girl says, "Man, I want you to be a social influencer with me and move to Montana"?
Well, then she's not the
Perfect girl. I knew the answer was coming as soon as he opened his mouth.
She, no, and that's part of the reason we're still single is it takes a real woman to marry a busy guy like we are.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it takes one heck of a woman.
A lot of
so-
independence.
Yep.
Strong personality.
Yep.
Patience.
Doesn't have to have you there all the time with them. And the best ones are the ones that come in. All of our tractors have 2 seats in them. So it's pretty often you see the wives come and ride with the guys.
So if the girl wants to go on vacations all the time and whatever, she's probably just not the right fit.
She can just find a different guy.
That's kind of what I thought.
I'm not that No.
That's not hard to put up with. Vacation to the cab, bring a little picnic into
That's right.
in while we're hauling manure.
Yep. Hauling
Perfect.
manure. chopping
Opposites
seed.
don't attract. The same kind of people attract.
That's right. All right, we're off to play Do, Marry, and Send to Russia.
Oh,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
The coined Farm for Fun game. These gentlemen actually sat in on Andrea's episode, so they got a little idea of what the concept is between do, marry, and not kill. We're just going to send them to Russia because we don't want to be too aggressive. So just in case you aren't familiar with the people on the list, starting off with the females for you boys. Dave, you can participate if you'd like. Is Selena Gomez, Kendall Jenner, Mila Kunis.
Oh, yeah, she's pretty.
So do, marry, send to Russia.
Okay, I'm going to do the do is the last one. What was her name?
Mila?
Mila.
Yes.
Goodness. And then Mary is going to be Selena. Selena's always had a special place in my heart. I don't know if you guys probably never watched Wizards of Waverly Place, did you?
No, that was after
Too
us.
old for that, right? Yeah, so I grew up on that show. So Selena Gomez is, for me. But, and then, the Jenners can all just stay away.
Jordan, do you agree?
No, so actually, I'm going to go right in the order that you had them. We're going to say do for the Selena and then marry for the Kendall and then send to Russia for Mila.
He wants the Jenner money to help the dairy out.
He's a smart man.
We were thinking.
Somebody's got to do it.
He's the brains of the operation.
Yep. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, who's got the most who's got the most acres here? Jenner. Yep.
All right, so
she's the Mary. We'll marry into the madness.
That's funny. Okay, so then the spinoff today is something that you have to do every day, something that you will never, ever do again, and the last one is hire somebody else to do it, which I wish I'd had a foresight because scraping alleys,
feeding cows.
it's a great one to hire to have someone else to do. So you have to do this every single day.
Well, okay, I think we're kind of miscommunication. Scraping alleys is with a skid steer.
Well, I get it, but it's still
It is still in the manure.
it's
yes,
still a
you're right.
task that
Yep.
What do you do for a living? Why scrape alleys at a dairy?
Yep.
Just one of those extra ones. I grew up on a farrow to finish hog farm, and some of the barns that we would have custom finish or custom nursery hogs had a scraper system that, it's only a 2-foot deep pit. You got to scrape it down there, and it always seemed like something went wrong with the scraping system.
Yep.
At least the skid loader, stuff can still go wrong.
I think I'd rather be a scraper than power wash hog buildings
Oh,
like
there
Corey,
you go.
because power washing hog buildings.
There you go.
Oh, Corey does that.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep.
So do every day, never do again, hire somebody else. Shower, wash your clothes, cut your hair. Do it every single day. Never do it again. Hire somebody else. Shower, wash your clothes, cut your hair.
Well, I mean, I feel like I speak for all of us, but maybe I'm wrong. Shower every day.
Okay?
Wash your own clothes. Hire that out to somebody else, and never cut your hair
And
again.
never cut your hair.
Because I don't know how I would feel wearing dirty clothes.
But could you live with long hair?
I mean, you can always wrap it up. It would be a pain. Don't get me wrong.
That is tough. But
It would.
You're on a dairy around equipment.
I would shower every day. I would have somebody.
You don't currently?
I would, and I still do. Yes. And I would have somebody else cut my hair, and the thing I'd never do again is wash my clothes because I married Jenner there, and so somebody.
it's like someone else can do
So
it.
somebody else is gonna do it.
Or you'll just buy new stuff.
I just buy new
right?
stuff. That's exactly right. I got enough money. We never have to wash the clothes. I'll just buy new ones.
That's pretty good.
Agreed. Yep. That's good.
I think outside the box.
What about you, Ryan? Never got your opinion on that one.
I'm just gonna have to agree with David. That's pretty good.
Dave was pretty good logic there. Chop silage, feed the cows, haul manure.
Oh man, those are three of my favorite things.
I figured it would be definitely a
Well,
farm kid.
wait.
Do every day. You got to do it every day. You never get to do it again, or you hire somebody else to do it.
So you gotta ask that question a little differently because see, you know that we don't chop. So technically, I mean, you might as well just throw that one away right away.
Well, he's just talking to be a
That's
part
fair.
of the operation, right?
That's I mean,
Or do
I
you
can
mean-
modify
you're
it.
right. You don't run the chopper.
All
I
right.
get that.
We'll modify it. Post on TikTok. Feed cows or haul manure?
This one's for you, Ryan.
Yeah, because you're just not going to post on TikTok.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Oh, man.
I should get down to the specifics. Actually, here's how you modify it. Mow hay, feed cows, haul manure. That's for Jordan.
Oh, there you go. Now that one's a hard one.
Do it every day. Never do it again. Hire somebody else. Mow hay, feed cows, haul manure. And yours is merge.
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
All right. I would hire out the feeding. I would. Oh, man, that's tough. I would haul manure every day, and then I would do away with merging.
You'd never merge again.
And that's tough, but
Never merge again.
it was tough. But
Never get in the hay merger
No, that's tough. but
ever again.
It would have to be the way it would go.
Okay, so for me, it's a little bit easier because when we're hauling manure, because I am one of the main feeders, there's a lot of times where you feed enough for the cows to start their day, and then you go off and you help them get ready for their day of hauling manure. And then I go back to feeding cows while they leave. And then whenever I'm done with that, I go to that. So I'd say never haul
Never
manure
again haul manure. Okay.
Nope. And then hire out the feeding only because
You're sick and tired of it.
I do it every day. I mean, you are completely right with that.
Yeah.
Now it would probably be a different story if I cut hay every day, but
Right.
because it's kind of fun because you only have to.
Relaxing.
That's right. You only have to
Yeah.
do it every 28 days. So I'm gonna
you
do every day the cutting hay.
That was a good answer. That's good.
Well thought.
I like that's a good segment. That's about what we can't do any better than that. That was great discussion.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of thought that went into that.
I think that one thing I want to say, I see our time's kind of running out.
Oh,
so-
there's no time running out, but
Okay.
say what you want to say.
All right, so the main thing I wanted to say is, like you said before, some people got to actually work on the farm. And I know you meant it as a joke, but there are people that downright think that since I'm taking video, I do not work.
Sure.
And that to me is just, it's very rude because half of my videos are taken from inside of a tractor, right? So I'm still working. And the other half, like I just take the video. People don't realize that we get home at 9, 10 o'clock at night, and I'll work on my YouTube or TikTok for 2 hours, and then I'll go to bed. I'll get 6 hours of rest, and we're back up at 6 doing it again the next day.
I've heard this before from other social influencers that we've talked to, Tanner, that the amount of time that goes into the back end that nobody ever sees.
No, all you guys see is the pretty transitions, the pretty video, the good-looking everything. You see me holding my phone up in the air while I'm not working. That's a lot of people say, "Oh, you just drive tractor." That's just when I have time to Snapchat you back or talk to you. I'm
Right.
not going to pull my phone out while I'm arm deep breeding a cow, right?
Right. So, it makes it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and one day I'll have breeding on my YouTube. I'm gonna try and stay away from it on my TikTok, but maybe this winter I'll run out of content and I'll start posting more like that. I don't really want to because that just draws in activists, but
Right.
if I have to, go head to head with some activists, I guess it is what it is. I wouldn't consider myself an advocate, but I would say that I do try and teach people, and I do have city people that have never been on a farm on my TikTok, and that's why I do one every 10 videos or so. I'm doing an informative video on what
Can
we're
we
doing.
make a new term called egg the kid? If they're under a certain age, egg the kid. Okay,
Right.
that was a poor dad joke.
That was an old man
That
joke.
was an old man joke right there.
I bet if I was 30 years older, I would have cracked up at that.
I would have been
Yes.
like, yeah, egg
Yes.
the kid. Yeah.
I smiled at it.
Well, it's not like you can be that old. You only look like you're 32.
I
so.
love it.
Wow.
I love it.
That's good.
Tanner, what are you? 30?
That was a
31?
compliment. No, 30, almost 34.
Okay.
Man, you're old.
Yeah, it says the guy who's 40.
Really? 40? You look pretty good for 40.
Yes,
right.
he does.
So one thing I do want to say before we end this, we are very appreciative to be here because, like Ryan said, somebody has to work. Our brothers and our mother and father, as well as our hired help, are all at home working right now, allowing this to happen.
This guy's the politician. See, he's the
Not the politician, but I'll tell you, like we said before, there's a line, and
Yep.
I mean, you got to make sure that you respect that line.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you appreciate the back end work, the
That's
people
right.
who are, allowing this to happen, all the work that goes on that you don't see. Well, us being on this podcast, there's work going on that nobody is ever going to see.
That's
There's
right.
going to have to be a follow-up session of this where his brothers just get where their brothers just get a call. We just have what the brothers think of the podcast.
We could do that.
I was just getting ready to say, it wasn't necessarily that Ryan was nervous to not eat today because of us.
Yeah.
He was more nervous about not making a mistake to where his brothers and his parents.
Well, and it's not even that. It was honestly a little bit of, like you said, it was kind of like, well, maybe I shouldn't even be here. Like I know that this is a great opportunity. I'm very thankful, but at the same time, like I said before, we don't take very many days off. So it's like it's very hard for me to try and justify leaving for 3 days and traveling 12 hours one way just for 45 minutes of talking. And like you said, Tanner, it's hard for us to ask that of you. So
right.
But I truly, since this was the first time that I've ever been asked, and you guys seem like great people, and I was like, okay, I guess
it's an honor to be the first.
So you got the world platform in front of you that it's so much bigger than TikTok. We're Farm4Profit podcast. What do you want to tell the world about farming?
I want to tell them that it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but it's one hell of a life.
Yeah, I think that's well put. And the crazy part is I can feel in the discussion that we've had today how much pride your family has in their farming operation, to where there's more pressure on editing this show, I think, than I've had in a long time. Mm-hmm. And we've had some pretty powerful guests on. I'm not discrediting any of the guests that we've had, but I want to do a damn good job with this.
Thank you.
We need to put a poll out there, and girlfriends wanted, but you have to like Terry.
If you guys find me a girlfriend, I'll be a happy man.
That's right. We could do that.
We can drive Ryan back out here to shake your guys' hand if you guys do that for him.
We'll get invited to the wedding.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So the funny part is you don't know how many emails the podcast email gets from apps, softwares, websites of farmersonly.com and be this connector app here and be a young agricultural person to be on a TV show. And this, it's fascinating the number of, I call them hookup apps or hookup situations that we get asking if we'll advertise them on our show. And maybe we should add a dating feature.
I don't know. Andrea met her husband on Tinder. One swipe and it was over.
That is quite the story. I think
that is.
When God wants you to have the right person, you're going to have the right
He's
person.
going to throw you some chicken nuggets and be like, here you go.
Chicken nuggets, and here you go. You got to listen to the other
You're going to be
episode.
sitting there eating crackers in bed or you're eating chicken nuggets. It doesn't matter.
That is so funny that you said that, though, about Andrea earlier. Or maybe you did, David, about the guy saying that, I'm going to put up with her eating crackers in bed.
Yeah.
Because I just saw that today, and I just thought
you
that
really?
was so funny.
Oh,
My gosh.
That's pretty good. No, awesome. So this has been a pleasure. We're not cutting you short, but it's a good spot to cut this. There may be a part 2. We don't make you drive all the way back out of here for part 2, but to keep tabs on you guys. But you got a little bit of an inside sitting in on Andrea's show as to the question that we always ask. So what is the best advice that you've ever received? And you both get to think about an answer to this question. Listeners, again, we hope you had a lot of fun at the Farm Progress Show. Stay tuned. We've got a lot of big things coming for Farm4Profit in the future. Be a couple local trade shows here in Des Moines, Iowa. The plans to go to National Farm Machinery Show, hopefully Commodity Classic, to network with you there. But if you've got a place you want to send us, let us know where that is, Dave.
And listeners, show Ryan and Jordan some love at Ryan Siemen, Siemen, on TikTok, and or 5-star, not because they're cocky, because there's 5 brothers. 5-star Dairy Boys.
They're all
on
stars.
YouTube. Get on YouTube and like, rate, review, watch their videos, show them some love there. If you guys haven't seen it yet, check it out. Back to your question, Tanner.
What is some of the best advice you've ever been given? And he defers the floor to the young man from Michigan.
So, I'll go first here. You don't deserve anything. You earn it. And that's with everything in life.
That was to the point. I like that.
What about you, Ryan? What are your words tonight?
Wow, how do you follow that up?
I've got 2. One quote from my dad that he has pounded into our heads. You got to work hard to play hard. So
Agreed.
We were big sports guys growing up, and he said, you want to be good at a sport? You learn how to work. So we woke up before school and worked, and that's how stuff like that. And another one is, oh man, I just lost it. So while I think of it, I'll
To
let you go.
work hard to play hard.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's a good
right.
one.
While he's
Yep.
thinking of the next one,
Oh,
on the work hard to play hard, I mean, we were also the kids that were working hard that you showed up maybe even a touch late for your games because, life got busy. And that's the end that people don't see. That's the background that other people
of
don't
sacrifice.
see. That's right.
Yeah.
and my second one would be that, and this is kind of from me. This is what I tell people: if you want to do something, just do it. You cannot care what people think. If I cared what people thought about me making TikToks, then I would never be where I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys. That's for sure. And you
Don't
wouldn't
worry
know
about
who
the
I am.
content. Just engage.
A couple weeks ago, we had Lane Gorel on, and he said the same thing about all the dance moves that he does. If that's not an account you guys follow, go find Lane. And he said the same thing. He goes, cows can't tell me that I'm a bad dancer or that I should stop doing it. So I do it, but it still takes a lot. Just get out there and put it out there. Someone's
That's
going to
right.
criticize you. Doesn't matter.
Oh, it don't matter. It don't matter if you're not posting videos. People are going to criticize you.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, listeners, crack what do we mix here? Captain Morgan and Busch Light.
Yes.
You deserve it.
Maybe some iced tea.
Maybe some iced tea.
I like it.
Thank you guys for having us. You guys
Yes,
do an
thank you very
awesome
much.
job.
Been a pleasure.